Hello guys, we're going to continue reading the poetry. We are now in the literature anthology book on page 172. The first poem that we're going to read is called The Sandpiper. At the edge of tide, he stops to wonder, races through the lace of thunder. On toothpick legs, swift and brittle, he runs and pipes, and his voice is little. But small or not, he has a notion to outshout the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so this is talking about the bird, and he describes the bird as running. He races, meaning that he runs very quickly. On toothpick legs, his legs are very thin. Uh, he's very swift. He moves very quickly, and he's brittle. His legs would easily break because they are so thin. It says he runs in pipes. Pipes means that he's making noise, and his voice is very small and little. The sound is soft. Okay, but small or not, he has a notion to outshout the Atlantic Ocean. It means that he thinks he's very loud, and he continues to make a lot of noise, even though his voice is not very loud. Okay, all right. This poem is lyric. He talks about the bird and how he thinks about the bird, how he thinks that the bird is swift, how he thinks that the bird's legs are brittle, how the bird races, and how the bird wants to be louder than the ocean. Okay? So it gives the thoughts and the feelings of the poet. It is written from the poet's point of view because the poet is talking about the bird. Okay? And we know that because he uses words like he, okay, to describe. Not talking about himself, he uses he to describe something else. This is the case, the bird. Next poem is called Bat. Okay. All day bats drowse in houses' eaves, like tents collapse for storage. But when dusk darkens, like fall leaves, they loosen, then they forage for juicy June bugs, meaty moths, mosquitoes eaten rare. They're scary, but there's nothing like a bat to clear the air. All right, so he talks about the bats and how they sleep all day under the eaves of the houses. The eaves are the edges that stick over the sides of the house, and how they live under there and they sleep all day long, and how their wings look like tents that have been collapsed, folded down to store. And it says, when the dust darkens, when the sun goes down, like fall leaves, they loosen. They start to open up and come down when the sun goes down because they come out at night. They're nocturnal animals. Then they forage. They start to look for food. They eat bugs, moths, and mosquitoes. And he says there's nothing like it to clear the air because they eat everything that's flying around. All right, again, this is a lyric poem written from the point of view of the author. We can tell that because he uses words like there and they when he describes the bats. Okay, and he talks about how they behave, and he talks about how he thinks they are scary. Okay, so it gives the thoughts and feelings of our author. This is also a lyric poem. Next, we have The Grasshopper Springs and Fireflies at Dusk. We can look at both of these poems and tell that they are haikus. Three line poems, 5, 7, and 5 syllables. We can count them. The grasshopper springs, that's 5, and catches the summer wind with his outstretched wings. The grasshopper springs, 5, and catches the summer wind, 7, with his outstretched wings, 5. Okay, the grasshopper springs, that means he jumps and catches the summer wind with his outstretched wings. He stretches out his wings and he uses the wind to fly. Fireflies at dusk. Again, fireflies dance at dusk, tiny lanterns in the dark, lighting my way home. All right, so we will check the syllables. Fireflies dance. Oh, sorry. Fireflies dance at dusk, 5. Tiny lanterns in the dark, 7, lighting my way home. 5. So it fits the rules of a haiku. 5, 7, and 5. All right, and he likes these fireflies that dance around at the dusk, again when the sun goes down, and they're like little lanterns showing him the way home by lighting it up. All right, so we have here, the, again, the point of view is from the person writing the poem because he talks about the grasshopper. And here again, he talks about the firefly. So the point of view again is from our poet. Okay. All right. We have the poem Fog. Now, I want to read Fog because I want you to notice how the poet describes the fog and how he gives his point of view about the fog. Fog. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city, on silent haunches, and then moves on. All right, so it talks about the fog coming in on little cat feet. If you've ever been around cats, you know that they walk very softly and quietly. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches. It sits back and looks very quietly and watches everything. And then when it's done, it moves on with no sound. This is what the fog does. He describes the fog as coming in on little cat feet, looking over the harbor on haunches and moving on without making a sound. He compares the fog to cat feet. Okay? This is a metaphor. Comparing the fog to cat feet. All right? His point of view is that the fog comes in very quietly. This is the author's point of view because he's talking about the fog. White Cat Winter. White Cat Winter prowls the farm, tiptoes soft through withered corn, creeps along low walls of stone, falls asleep beside the barn. Okay, this poem, again, he is describing the winter, and he describes it as a white cat, and how winter comes in and prowls the farm. It moves all over the farm, tiptoes soft through the corn, moves softly through the corn, along the walls of stone, and falls asleep beside the barn. So the winter is everywhere. This is also a metaphor because he compares the winter to a white cat. Okay? All right, that's it for our poems for this week. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.